Hey there guys, thanks for clicking on today's video. Before we start, I just wanted to jump in and just say that this video is in no way sponsored, affiliated, anything like that with Scorch paint, Scorch marker. I just really fell in love with their product and thought it was cool and I wanted to try all of it. And so I figured it would just be easy to do it all in one video. So just wanted to let you know that, anyway, not sponsored. These are just my actual opinions and my thoughts as I try a new product that I ended up having a lot of fun with. So let's get to the fun, guys. To start things off, let's unbox my goodies. I bought a set of their stencils. As you can see, there are a ton of them. And then I also bought I got that Scorch marker for free as a little gift. I bought the wood conditioning, I bought the Scorch paint, and I bought the glossy and matte finish of their Magic Maker. And I love this little thing that says, "You're a beautiful human, keep crafting." Yes, I will, thank you so much. So I put a little note there so you guys could see. They recommend doing a 3-step process when it comes to doing your sanding so you get a really smooth surface. They say to do a 120, then a 240, and then a 320 to get a really smooth surface for your wood burning. You're also gonna see that they gave this great little tip where you take your pencil and you kind of do a little scribble on it, on whatever your surface you're doing. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna tell you if you've done your sanding enough. So I thought that was a really great tip, so that was really cool. That came from the creator of Scorch marker when I was looking at some of their videos. So I'm going through their stencils and kind of trying to decide what I want to do. And so I decided to do these little butterfly ones. And like I said, they come in these cute little packages. There's a ton of them and they were only like 10 bucks from their website, which was super fun, especially if you're into just kind of playing and trying to figure out what you want to do. So they are perforated and I was just kind of tearing them off. Now I will say, I told you guys this is not a sponsored video. They are in no way affiliated. So I will say I struggled with these stencils. Oh, you can see I showed you that each of these spoons were $3.29 at Hobby Lobby for these acacia wood. But like I said, I'm not going to show you my entire struggle bus, but you can see me here struggling a little bit. I don't know if it was me, if it was them, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's a joint effort of issues. But I had a really hard time getting the stencil to stick to these acacia wood spoons and stuff. I thought maybe, well, this one, maybe it's because that spoon is curved. So like I said, I spent probably a good 10 minutes, but I'm not going to make you watch all that. We're just going to flip-flop to where things actually were working, I guess, and move on to the fun part and the reason that you really came to watch this video and not to watch me struggle with stencils. So we've got them on there, and you're gonna see when I open my Scorch paint here in just a moment that it had some issues, and I will say great customer service. I emailed them, told them I had a problem. They're sending a replacement, so kudos on the great customer service. So what they recommend doing is using a small brush or a silicone spatula, kind of like this one, and to apply a thin layer through it. It kind of feels like you're painting with grape jelly. That's what I meant to say, grape jelly or raspberry jelly, whatever. You can kind of see I'm struggling with this one because I couldn't get the stencil to lay flat. So again, this could be beginner's error. I can't even say beginner's luck, but that's okay. We're having fun. That's why we started small, so we could figure out what works, what doesn't work, all that kind of fun stuff. The next thing they recommend doing is taking a paper towel and using your hand or a brayer to kind of just soak up any excess of our Scorch paint that is on top. And I love that it has that deep red tint because it really allows you to see where your paint is. It's not clear, so you don't have to like hunt and peck and figure out where your design is. So I love that. I don't know if that was on purpose or if it had to be red. I don't know. I didn't invent it. But I grabbed my little Cricut tool to kind of weed those little pieces out. I feel like Dolly Parton because, you know, she always has all of those little butterflies all over her stuff. So I'm going to show you how to do this and show you that you can do this with a heat gun as well as a craft gun. This is a traditional craft gun, and I'm going to speed it up, but this craft gun took me a minute and 45 seconds, which isn't horrible, but you can kind of see it's starting to darken. It does say in all of the literature for this that the higher the temperature, the darker your image is going to be. So kind of keep that in mind while you're working. But I still think decent, not bad. Next I'm using like a traditional heat gun, and I will say, y'all, the heat gun took about 30 seconds. So that's substantially faster. And I get that really great, dark, crisp image. So I think for a dabble, like a try, I think that's a pretty good first project. All right, so let's go a little bigger. This time we're going to be using a full cutting board, but this time we're going to try the wood conditioner. What they say this does is it helps with an even absorption of your Scorch paint. It helps sharpen your details by controlling your lines, and it reduces warping and protects your project over time. So I think that is something we all want to do. So you just apply it, and then you heat it up until you can see that glossiness fades. Didn't take very long, but if it makes a difference in our project, heck yeah, we're going to use it every time. I found these really cool stencils at Hobby Lobby, and you're going to see these are a little bit different than your traditional stencils. That's why they're probably more expensive than a typical stencil at Hobby Lobby. These are what's called a mesh stencil, or similar to a screen print. So you can't really see in this, but you can kind of a little bit there. You can see here, it has a really fine screen or mesh, if you will, in those open spots. And that's how a lot of people are able to get those really, really intricate wood burning images, is because they use something like this, because that mesh holds all those little intricate pieces together. Super fun. So we're taking our grape jelly, just kidding, our Scorch paint, and I'm using a little bit bigger of a spatula this time because obviously we're doing a bigger space. And again, super easy. Takes so little to do these projects. So I have a feeling this little thing of Scorch paint, even though you look at it and you think maybe it's not very big, but it's gonna last a long time because you use such a little amount of it. So I'm going in and just soaking up that little bit of excess. I'm not gonna lie, the crafty person in me wonders what happens if I add heat to the tissue paper that I'm using, but I have a feeling it would go up in a ball of flame, so I'm not gonna do it, I'll be good. But you can see that mesh stencil gave me such a good image, and look how crispy those lines are. So I really think that conditioner really made a difference. So I didn't show you this whole thing, obviously, because we would be here for a little while, but it literally took just a few minutes. And I really made sure to keep my heat gun moving around so I didn't end up with any scorch marks on the background, that I was really just aiming to get that really dark, rich tone. But isn't it so absolutely gorgeous? I am absolutely in love with this. Now, they do recommend that when you're done that you take a finishing spray or a finishing oil is what I meant, and I didn't have any, so I cheated and just grabbed some olive oil to make it look pretty. So do as I say, not as I do. But anyway, you can see if you have finishing oil or some other kind of oil, how it really brings out the darkness and makes it even better. I am absolutely in love with this. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a personalized project, which I'm super excited about. So I want to do this for my mother-in-law, but this was my test one. So I kind of honestly went online and found some random signature names. And so some of these actually are names of some of my relatives, but I wanted to play with them and get them to where they were going to fit on my cutting board. My plan for when I do this for my mother-in-law is I'm just going to have everyone send me a picture of their signature, and I'll basically do the same thing that we're about to do. So now we're going to do the old school method of transfer. I'm going to take my printed out piece of paper that had my signatures on it, and I'm just going to scribble a ton of graphite pencil on the back. If you have carbon paper, obviously so much faster, but you know, we're going to use what we have. And then we're going to go old school. I'm just going to flip it over so that my graphite scribbles are on the back. And then I'm just going to trace over each of those names. Make sure, just go ahead and flip it over and you can kind of see and make sure that they're transferring correctly. This is super handy in general for art if it's something you've never done. And if you find an image you like, but you don't feel like you can draw it, or you want to do a really cool typography or handwritten situation, this is the cheater method to do it. People use it all the time, so maybe it's not cheating. So you can see I switched to a harder pencil. Originally I was using a softer one and it wasn't working great. but love it. See that? All those signatures are on there. Now this project, we're going to use the Scorch pen or Scorch marker. Sorry, it's not a pen. I'm going to shake it up really well. And then you're going to notice, I'll show you here in a second, that it has two ends. It has a brush end if you're using more like a stencil. But if we're going to be writing, I'm going to prime the more pen marker kind of end. I apologize, Scorch marker. I keep calling it a pen. And then I'm just going to trace over my signatures that were transferred over. Don't worry if you have any pencil lines left or any of that graphite left. It is fine. We will make that work. We will actually get rid of that here whenever we get down the road. So don't even worry about making it perfect. Handmade presents are not always about being perfect. They're about putting yourself and your love and making something really cool. But I thought this concept would be really cool for my mother-in-law, just because we're all kind of all over the place, and be a chance when she's cooking to pull out something with all of her sons and all of her grandkids with their signatures on it. I thought that would be really cool. So ignore how jangly this is. I did go outside to do this one because I have a smaller studio space. And after I did the mushroom one, I was worried that maybe my studio space wasn't ventilated enough. So I did take this one outside. So I apologize for the wibbly wobbly craziness of it. But you can see it's turning out so absolutely cool. I can't wait to see other people do this because it is such an easy way to personalize a project. And then you can see when I add the olive oil, it's just making it pop. I'm here for it. And the cutting board was like $8 at Hobby Lobby. I mean, personalized for $8. Come on. All right, to wrap this handmade Christmas video up, we're gonna do one more project using the Maker's Magic. I'm using the glossy, and this is a glass cutting board I got from the Dollar Tree, Dollar-ish Tree, as I guess we should call it now. And I'm using the glossy, like I said, and we'll talk more about the specifics later, but I'm going to talk about the project first, just so I don't lose you along the way. So I'm just taking the Maker's Magic and just laying it down, similar like if you were doing like a Mod Podge situation, you would put a layer underneath. And then these are actually wall decals, I again found at Dollar Tree. At mine, they were both $1.25. I don't know how that works anymore at the Dollar Tree. Anybody else confused by the Dollar Tree? Anyway, that's just me. So I'm just going in, and you can see that I'm actually putting them backwards so the sticky side is up. That way you can see them right side up from the other side, because right now I'm working on the back. And then I grabbed my alphabet stickers and kind of flipped through those and found a sticker set that I think would work great for this project. And so we're going to go in and actually personalize this, which is really cool. And again, we're looking at a really inexpensive personalized gift. And so I'm flipping through all of my stickers, trying to find one that has enough to spell my last name, which doesn't always happen. And I'm going to go ahead and stick them down. And again, remember that we're doing it in a reverse so that we can get them done correctly. And I'm struggling a little bit, and then I realized it was because I hadn't put any of my Maker's Magic down in that particular corner. So you're gonna see me in a second pull them off and, you know, start over because it just wasn't working. Because, you know, y'all know I keep it real. I leave the good, the bad, and I'm not always the greatest at this in my videos. I will say tweezers made it very helpful to kind of get them adjusted, and they stayed perfectly once I had something for them to stick to. And so I'm just spelling out my last name. That way I can give this to anyone in my family, or I can keep it for myself. And again, super easy project, super simple project. And what I found about loving this Maker's Magic is that it doesn't show your brush strokes. There's no wrinkling and bubbling or clumping is what they say on their website. So I'm really interested to try this in my Bible journaling to see how it would work instead of using a more expensive thing like our clear gesso or any of that other kind of stuff that I typically recommend. This is also waterproof, non-toxic, and food safe, and you can use it on just about any surface. So it might just be magic if it actually is all of those things, which is pretty darn cool. So you see, I put all my little things down, and I'm adding another layer to kind of seal it all in. And watch, we're gonna do a big reveal here in just a second. We're gonna flip it over. And look how pretty it is. I mean, something so simple. There's a little bit of texture from the glass, and there's metallic on the butterflies. Now, I will say, after it dried for an hour, I did go back in and do another coat, which is what they recommend. They recommend 2 to 3 coats with an hour of drying in between. But now it is perfect and ready to be a super simple, super easy gift. And I am obsessed with it. I'm probably gonna keep it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of A Handmade Christmas, and you enjoyed just seeing how you can use these amazing Scorch marker products to make just some amazing products. Like I said, not affiliated, I'm not getting paid for this, but you'll probably see some more of them because I have had so much fun and they're so versatile. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one.